Believe it or not, this is my first time finishing my sketchbook. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Cindy. I am the face behind Little Corgo. Today, we are talking about my sketchbook. I mostly view myself as a digital artist. A lot of my work that I put out there is digital art. A lot of the products I put out are also made from digital art. And so one of my goals this year was to explore more traditional art and to draw more on paper. I feel like every time I've drawn up to this point, it's only been because I have to turn it into something, but I really wanted a way where I could just freely create without any pressure. I really only had one goal with the sketchbook, which was to complete it by the end of this year. And as I'm recording this, it is mid-November, meaning that in my 20-something years of living, I've had multiple sketchbooks and never finished it, but this one I picked up in April and finished it in November, which is about 7 months. And I did do a lot of traveling this year too, so I wasn't actively always drawing in the sketchbook. But anyways, enough of this chit chat. I will walk you through my sketchbook and my thoughts behind everything. Alright, so the sketchbook that I have here is the Picaro sketchbook that she released earlier this year. The reason why I wanted this sketchbook was because it is a smaller format. I feel like a lot of sketchbooks are kind of like a little bit taller than this. And to me, they feel very daunting to fill up. And I thought that a smaller sketchbook like this would be easier to carry around. But also, if I wanted to fill up the spreads, I would feel less intimidated. Another reason why I wanted to get the sketchbook was because the pages are actually coated, meaning that the paper feels a little bit more smooth. So each media that I use in this sketchbook, it kind of behaves a little bit differently in comparison if it was used on like watercolor paper or traditional paper. But the sketchbook, I would say, is pretty beat up. I'm actually feeling quite shy to show my sketchbook because I feel like compared to everyone else's sketchbooks, they're very extravagant and fancy, but I feel like for me, mine just looks like chicken scratch. So I will warn you, my book is not that aesthetic. So as I go through this tour, I'll also talk about my goals with the sketchbook, and I'll also share how I was able to finish the sketchbook after having so many sketchbooks just empty and uncompleted. First off, I would like to thank my friend from Corgo who really got me into sketchbooking. She just kept throwing all sorts of mediums at me to try, and I literally fell in love with every single one. You'll see what I mean. First off, you can see that I started on April 16 and I finished it. Today's the 16th, so I just finished it a couple of days ago. So first page. It looks very chicken scratchy. This is my first time sketchbooking in front of someone else. I typically don't like drawing in front of other people, but I feel like the sketchbook has really opened up my comfort zone, so I'm now able to comfortably draw in front of other people. So this first page is my first time playing with fountain pens. I actually did not like it when I first had it. I think maybe I just had the wrong colors, maybe the wrong pens. But my first spread, all done in fountain pen. This is Krebby, who has a little floppy ear. I didn't know what to draw, so I was just sort of looking around her house and trying to copy things that I was seeing. This was my first time trying alcohol markers. I had absolutely zero clue what I was doing. I thought I wasn't meant for alcohol markers. I thought, maybe I'm not a traditional artist because I felt like everything I drew for the first little bit just looked like complete garbage. Not fun for me to look at. Everything is just so ugly. So I'm experimenting more with alcohol markers. Everything I do up to this point is very like single tone. Here I tried to make a cloud. I don't know how it looks to you guys, but it just looks like a blob to me. This is still in the same day. I'm still experimenting with alcohol markers, seeing how one alcohol marker would blend. Okay, so these are very ugly. But funny story behind this, I was tabling at SakuraCon earlier this year, and if you kept up with the news, the Cheesecake Factory was on fire, so I drew a cheesecake on fire to commemorate that. I was actually quite proud of this. This was only maybe like an hour into alcohol markers, and I was like, whoa, this actually looked like Oliver. And so the time difference from here to here, I believe this is April 2019, 20th. And the next time I open the sketchbook is May 8th. And the reason is because I didn't have any stationery prior to this. And so when I came back from Seattle, I was like, I want alcohol markers. So this is where I bought alcohol markers and I start to figure out how to blend different colors, how do I blend with one color. Like even right here it says got alcohol markers. I thought I popped off with this spread. So the best way I find to practice is to practice on real objects. So there was literally a banana in front of me. Meanwhile, down here, I tried to do like a sunset. And it just looked really messy. So after seeing how messy this was, I tried to fix the blending up here, which you can see the blending here compared to here is a lot better. But of course it will depend on like what kind of look you're going for. I wanted a more blended look, but this was not it. So I practiced more blending here and drew seagull to fill up the space. And I'm still clearly very excited about having alcohol markers because we have Ooh, I was very happy with this one. This was my second day of having alcohol markers and I was really proud of this one. His forehead is a little big. I think I was drawing like this. Yeah, so you have eyes in the corner here to indicate where I was drawing from. So if you look at it this way, it looks decent, but then when you like straighten it out, it's like, oh, he's got a big noggin. Experimenting with more alcohol markers. Here I was trying to figure out what sort of yellows I want to do for my corgis. Ooh, yes! This was my first time bringing my sketchbook outdoors. So we went on a camping trip and I tried to recreate the mountains and the view that we had. I did have some struggles with this one because a lot of the colors in the 120 Ohuhu set, they don't have the pastels. So literally after we came back from this camping trip, I bought the pastel set because doing the shading on the mountains here was really hard because there's not many like colors in the 120 set. Oh, more corgis. I think this is just a draft spread for the next spread. Yes, okay. I was doing a social media post for my birthday sale back in May and I was too lazy to make a graphic, so I drew it and then took a photo of it. Watching B99. This was literally outside of my house. I took a photo of the sunset, which I didn't even include. Took a photo of the sunset. I liked the silhouette of the power line, so I wanted to just do a quick painting. But this is the Sakura Micron fine liners. Also, in my sketchbook, you'll find that I do a lot of product ideation. I do a lot of junk journaling, include some to-do lists and tasks in this book. And I find that when you treat your sketchbook as like an all-purpose book rather than just a sketchbook, it does help you complete this sketchbook a lot faster. And I know it's called a sketchbook. I call this a sketchbook. It 90% is a sketchbook, but I also give the sketchbook different purposes as well. And you'll see that later on in the spread. These are still very early into my sketchbook. Some more product ideation. Oh yes, okay. So from here on out, I remember having very extreme art block. I had no idea what to draw. I tried drawing snacks. I tried drawing plants. I tried swatching a bunch of different colors to hopefully maybe spark interest or spark some creativity. And I find that when I have art block, the best thing for me to draw is the easiest thing. So what else am I gonna draw? I drew a bunch of corgis, and I feel like just being able to fill a page like this and just go at it is such a good way to exercise your brain. Though I do believe after this, I still have a lot of art block. But I find that doing exercises like this to fill up your page really helps a lot. This was another time where I brought camping. This was a little painting I did while, I think at the same camping trip. I didn't have any reception, so I just kind of drew what my brain thought of, which was a little daisy field, but they do kind of look like eggs. So I was like, okay, you know what? Just pick 2 or 3 colors and just go at it. So that was my attempt. It's very chaotic. I don't know what else to say. But this chaotic energy kind of transferred over to this spread. So I was actually watching Spider-Verse and I really like the colors in the movie. They're very like red, bright yellows, blues, very galactic. So I wanted to do something along those lines. And I ended up digitizing this spread as well and turning it into just a digital illustration, which is fun because even though I digitized it, I did not turn it into a product. So I put it in my sketchbook, digitized it, and just left it as is, which is very rare for me to do. I feel like every time I put anything into my iPad, it turns into a product. So I really love that I digitized it without monetizing it. This is going to be a very common theme in this video, it seems. I can tell that I still have art block because I was like, hey, you know what's easy to draw? Pokemon. I drew this one, I was like, whoa, this one turned out okay. This one I was not happy with. I was like, all right, I'm done with Pokemon. So here I drew things that I love. So camping, flowers, cameras. I like the outdoors, but I don't know why I just drew a giant Oliver over the mountains. More art block. So the concept of just picking one or two colors and just going at it, I tried playing with just like blocking out and also just experimenting more with the alcohol markers. So I would use the fine tip and draw things and then brush it over to see how the color would stay. I did the same thing over here. So if you look at the orange, those are one sort of illustrations. If you look at the green, that's another illustration. The whole pick two colors. So if you look at the yellow, that's one illustration. If you look at the red. Yes, okay, and more chaos. We love chaos. So I really tried to take the concept of limiting the colors I have. So I believe there's 3 or 4 colors. And then I gave myself a theme. So this is summer, this is autumn, this is spring. This was supposed to be winter, but I never came back to it. And I just stuck a little sticker. But yeah, trying to give myself themes and limiting my color palette. Look at this guy. Shook. Maybe I should go back and fill out the white space here. I was at Art Conveni, which is a one-day event in Vancouver hosted by 2 artists. And so I was drawing all the artists that I could see within like, you know, just close distance to me. And I had a limited amount of markers with me. I think I only had 5 or 6 colors. So I brought this book around and I literally told people to draw in it. So the next couple pages are other artists. I was in a bit of a UFO phase here. I saw a shirt of a cat being sucked into a UFO and I thought it would be funny to recreate it with the limited amount of markers I had that day. Alright, this is a very bare bones spread. I was trying to brainstorm for my current convention table. So if you keep up with me on any of my social media, you see that I currently have a camping setup. I basically drew as much as I could within a short time span. I think I gave myself like 3 or 5 minutes to draw everything that was camping related. You know, not all spreads will look pretty and full spreads artistic. You'll see a lot of spreads like this where it's just chicken scratch. Okay. This is the start of fountain pens. This So my friend was getting really deep into fountain pens and I came over. I experimented with a couple different pens, I believe, but I think my main goal was to just see what kind of colors I like. More UFO. Ooh, okay, so these are acrylic paint markers. I still don't have a set of my own. I really enjoy them. This one is just a little landscape, all with these paint markers, and they dry a little glossy on this coated paper. But I like that if you mess up, you can just take a color, whether it's like a light color or dark color, and you can just color it over. And so I believe under this illustration, there was probably a drawing that I wasn't really happy with, and I just blocked it out. Yeah. This is a spread from my friend. I think I went to the washroom and then she just vandalized my sketchbook. I love when people leave little drawings in my book. Here is more paint markers. More messy painting. I would love to get myself a set of paint markers. I really enjoy how saturated and thick they are. Like, you don't really have to do any layering. Like, what you put down is what you put down. I made my very first fountain pen order, so I bought a bunch of samples and I bought a Twisby, which is this guy over here, my very first fountain pen. Love it very dearly. So I bought that, was very excited, tried all the inks. Yes, as you can tell, I start falling in love with fountain pen and all the inks. I do a lot of swatching. When I see a color, I usually associate it with something and I will try to draw it out. So you can see that every time there's a green, it tends to be foliage, while when it's brown, I tend to draw corgis. Ah, yes, okay, the first spread of junk journaling. So the reason why I love junk journaling in my sketchbook is you can put as much stuff as you want in here, and I love to leave a little bit of space to doodle. So for this spread, I was commemorating when I went to AX with my friend. We did a lot of shopping, met a lot of different artists, and so all the purchases that I made, I would cut out a little piece or put a piece of sticker in here. So for example, I bought a print from these guys, so I saved their business cards, bought a bunch of washi tape, bought my first blind box. Ah, yes. I think here I was like, hey Cindy, you draw too much corgis and you don't know how to draw people. So this is the start of me experimenting and drawing with people, and I really want to incorporate my own original human character more into my art. So here I was just trying to figure out the head shape and where I want things to land on the head. It just looks like a bunch of bald kids. Some more people. So I'm experimenting with all sorts of different people styles, chibi styles. Here is my Annie Revo spread. I always table at Annie Revo. This year we did like a little stamp rally, just me and my friend, where if you went to my friend and you screamed I love balls to her, you would get the stamp, and then if you went to my table and you barked like a dog, you would get these 3 stickers here, which are actually, this one's on my bottle and this one's on my bottle. The other sticker I still have. So yes, I do love combining the whole idea of junk journaling and sketchbooking together. You create some pretty cool spreads that have a lot of character to them. So I was practicing more people here. My friend Ryan actually helped out with the event, so I drew him, my partner too. This is Hulong, which is the purple bunny here. I love balls, yeah. Another thing I like doing is doing studies on other people's characters, because you learn a lot of different things just staring at other people's art. So I experimented with fountain pen and alcohol markers and mixing the two, learning that you should probably do fountain pen last. Sketchbooking made me realize that I actually don't know how to draw a lot of things. And I think I know how to draw things, but I don't until I actually try. It's a weird concept, but it's taught me that I don't know how to draw pugs, I don't know how to draw a lot of things. And so this sketchbook has helped me kind of navigate that and practice drawing other things that aren't exactly corgis. Some more fountain pen spam and product ideation. Ooh, this one's fun. I actually did a little sketch of a birthday card that I made for a friend. And I digitized this, die cut it, so it was like a die cut greeting card, and I sent it to her. It was very cute. There's a little painting that I did. This is a painting of a photo I took in 2023 of Tofino. I love this place. Got more fountain pen ink samples, so obviously swatched it out, puked up all the colors, and did a bunch of doodles here. Some more alcohol marker spam. You'll find that a lot of the spreads that I do are kind of these brain vomit ones where I just go. I feel like if you're too stuck up with trying to draw something, you won't want to draw and you'll get overwhelmed. Because for me, I get decision fatigue and I get fatigued when I get overwhelmed. So the best thing to do is just go at it and to not think about it too much. But then when I look at these, I'm like, oh, chaos. Ooh, yes. Okay. I love this spread. So this spread was drawn by 3 different people. We were sitting around a table and just passing our sketchbooks around the table. This spread here, I was doing a study of Yuhons. So they make a lot of these cute wooden sculptures. They're absolutely so cute, and the shapes are just so fun. And so I just thought to do a study on them with their little googly eyes, and yes, and I tried to incorporate that they were 3D. Yes, okay. I went to a little get together and I drew everyone as fast as I could. I made it a mini goal to draw more people. Trying to figure out how to draw different hairstyles, face shapes, nose shapes, eyes. Small art. So I tabled at Small Art this year, which is a 1 weekend event in Seattle. And so there was this cool stamp rally thing that you could do, activity rather than rally. Each color is a layer. So each color was a different station in the venue, and you had to go around the venue to get each color. And then when you get all the colors, you get this cool illustration. And so this spread is, so I drew like the mascots. I just drew a bunch of like space theme things because the guy's like a little alien. He kind of looks like this. I bought a Hot Pot shirt, which is the one I'm wearing right now. And this is where I got this. I did more of that Small Art mascot. More product ideation. Ooh, yes. Okay. So I believe the time difference between this, I think this was all done in the same day, but then this is where I stopped it right here. From here on, I started going on my road trip. I brought my sketchbook, but I actually didn't draw that much, or draw period. So August 18, and then I believe this is September, mid-September, because the next spread, I kind of drew this like mountain thingy. So we were driving down this road and there was like this really vast mountain. Try my best to recreate it. And then this is where everything really picks up. I come back from my road trip, take a break, and then October 4th, keep that in mind, October 4th. And I finished this sketchbook at November 12, October 4, November 12. Almost, just less than half of the sketchbook is in October, November. So this is where I go berserk. So here is just me being very chaotic again. I like to take one color and just go at it. Red, very red. All right, more fountain pen swatches. Every time I see my friend, she just keeps throwing me more colors, and then I just go on a swatching spree. And so I feel like doing these ink swatches definitely filled up my sketchbook a lot faster because I use like a dip pen. So I use this Kakimori dip pen, and if you know this pen, my gosh, when you dip it into the ink, it holds on to a lot of ink. And so what happens is I'll swatch it, write the name, do a couple lines with it, and realize I still have a lot of ink left on my pen. So I'll just draw. This one, ooh, this spread here was inspired by my camping trip. Some blue because it was a very rainy weekend. Drew the dogs. Ah, yes. Okay, so this Kakimori pen, my friend, this Kakimori pen that I was just talking about, my friend actually gifted it to me. And so I kept all the packaging. Yeah, so we went to this store in Vancouver. I was still practicing on how to use this pen because if you can see this pen, you can do some really thin strokes with it and really thick strokes, which I'm not very used to. I love the look of like super thick strokes and being able to draw big. If you notice, a lot of my spreads I draw quite small, so this helped me kind of break my comfort zone to draw bigger. My partner and I were watching Code Geass, and I started drawing a lot of the characters in there. Oh, and something I start doing here on out is I like drawing these little thumbnails slash frames. And so they're like great ways to just quickly work on a composition and just get the basic shapes down. So I think I got this suggestion from another artist and I started implementing it, and it's really helped me kind of figure out shapes and compositions in a scene. I will talk more about this when you start seeing them later on in my book. Here are more of the thumbnails I was talking about. More thumbnails. These are some photographs that I took when I was in Alberta during my Rockies road trip. And they don't take that long, maybe like a minute or two, and just quickly doodle what you see. And it helps you nail down like basic details. They're not meant to look super good, but just a little exercise. More color spam. I remember doing this page when I was hosting board game night, so I drew a couple of people that were there, drew some little things that I saw from the board games. This was after all my friends left. I drew my friend's dog in different angles and different ways. When I get the chance to draw other dogs, I usually will try to. Yes, the rediscovery of alcohol markers. So, my friend gave me a bunch of oranges and I was like, I feel like painting them. So I did that with alcohol markers. I actually quite like this spread a lot. I feel like I integrated fountain pens and alcohol markers and did a little bit of a better job with compositions. Still not the best, but better than a lot of my chicken scratch work from before. More fountain pen swatching. When does this girl stop? Did a little mushroom study. I was not happy with the mushroom underneath. Oh god. So I just kind of covered it up. More alcohol markers. More trying to play around with my kakimori. I really love this color. I believe it's the Sailor Yoi, Y-O-I. Very pretty. More frames. So we went to Portland at the end of October and I was just doing little frames of the Airbnb. And even though they're a little jank, I look at it and I know exactly what I was looking at. So that's pretty cool. It's like a little snapshot. It's like taking a photo without actually taking a photo and you're drawing it instead. They're not meant to be super extravagant. Just practice your basic shapes and your perspective. Wow, more swatches. Are we surprised? My friends gave me a buttload of ink. I think I have 4 spreads of swatches here. So here I just kind of drew like a basic corgi, wrote the name of the ink, and then did a couple of lines of it. I really love these colors, the Obulation. Obulation's a store down in Portland, Oregon, and they have some exclusive inks. I did pick one up, not these ones, but I picked up Rose City Rose, which you'll see a lot afterwards. Another thumbnail. Here was my boyfriend falling asleep on the couch. I was over at my friend's place, and I just, went ham. So this is also from Yuhuan, which are the little, these guys. Same artists. I get a lot of inspiration from funny looking animals. And then I drew Oliver in Pikarar style. So another junk journaling spread. We picked up the League of Legends Riftbound card game, the Proving Grounds, and also got some booster packs. So there's that. This is the Komori Con spread. So I bought some Obulation ink, got something from Eglian, and this is like, okay, this is just a little cutout. This is just a little cutout from the artist package telling us what to show and what not to show. So I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really funny, so I cut it out, put it in the sketchbook. Yes, ooh, this one's a cute spread. And so we went hiking with a bunch of different dogs in Washington, and I drew all the dogs. And while we were in Seattle, I visited the Picard and Friends store. So there was a little stamp station, and if you flip it open, there's just a bunch of stickers that I collected during our trip. Yes, more swatches. So another artist, Nico Bun, gave me a lot of her stickers and washi tape to try out, so I like to commemorate that. Ink swatches, more ink swatches. Let's backtrack a bit. I ended up liking this color a lot. I love a deep yellow and orange, and I love inks that have a lot of shading. And what shading is when it's like light and then it becomes dark. So I ended up picking this color up later on at a local store in Vancouver. More swatches. More swatches. This was a little spread that I did with that yellow ink I was talking about earlier. And this is a Picarar sticky note. And this one was done by my friend Crebico. I left a spread in her book as well. It's not as nice as this, but this is so cute. Once again, another Yuhan study. I really enjoy their work. Just the funny little animals and the funny little vegetables with eyes. I think they make some really cool characters. Such simple concepts, but such cool shapes. And all the cool little details. And I love the eyeballs. They're so simple, but they're just so adorable. And the last page. I got more artists to draw in my book. And that ink that I was talking about earlier, this is the day I picked it up. So I drew around it and did a thumbnail here, but then realized this is the last paper and it's not the same coated paper. And just like that, that is the end of my sketchbook tour. Okay, wowee. I was talking for close to an hour introducing my sketchbook to you guys, and I guess I just wanted to quickly run over what made me get into sketchbooking and how I was able to finish it so fast. I mean, I guess I already talked about this, saying why I got into sketchbooking and that I just wanted to explore more traditional media. And even though I found myself drawing the same thing over and over again, like I drew a lot of corgis, like I'm sure you guys saw, just lots and lots of corgis. I feel like it's definitely helped me practice more of my technical drawing skills. And it also made me realize that I don't know how to draw a lot of things that I think I know how to draw. So simple things like, how do you draw an egg? How do you draw an apple? How do you draw a boy? Things like that, I realized I don't actually have the foundations and fundamentals down. So this really helped me work on that foundation and basic art skills. And like I said, the goal of my sketchbook was I wanted to finish it by the end of the year. And that was the only goal I had for the sketchbook. At first, I thought it was a little bit daunting considering that I've never filled up a sketchbook. But then when I started getting the ball rolling and figuring out what medias I like, it really increased the rate that I was going at. And so I guess some tips that I can offer to those that are just starting out sketchbooking, having troubles finishing a sketchbook, is to embrace imperfection. So there's a lot of spreads that I'm not exactly happy with, and like the corgis look jank, my drawings look jank, things just look like chicken scratch. But I think the whole point of a sketchbook is for you to use it and to practice. And so I feel like online you see a lot of completed spreads with like, you know, they're like, they always look like this and they always look complete like this spread. But then in reality, you're gonna have a lot of spreads that are just bare bones and are just very simple. And I think that's the beauty of sketchbooking. The whole point of a sketchbook is for you to sketch in it. And so I think we're just so used to seeing such full, beautiful spreads. And so when you think of the idea of sketchbooking, you're like, oh God, that's gonna take too much time. But then when I started just leaving my book on my dining table in my office, just ready for it to be used, I was more likely to grab my sketchbook. Before, it used to just kind of sit in my backpack or just be tucked away. And I started thinking about how often I use my phone. I use my phone really often because it's literally on me, or it's always in sight or easy to grab. So I applied the same logic to my sketchbook, and I literally just left it everywhere. And I just kept opening it. I just couldn't stop. But also I wanted to use sketchbooking as an alternative to doom scrolling. I'm sure we're all very guilty of doom scrolling and scrolling into the brain rot. But when I'm scrolling for more than 5 minutes, I was like, all right, put the phone down. It's time to sketchbook. It's time to sketchbook. And I also love the idea of combining junk journaling and sketching together. It makes me realize that I actually don't remember a lot of small moments that happen in my life until I started sketchbooking and junk journaling. And then when I do look back on it, I'm like, oh haha, I did buy that. Oh haha, like that did happen. So I think it's a really cool way to document your life in a different way. And there are some days where I spend less than 5 minutes in my sketchbook, but there are days where I just go non-stop. Like here, let me see here. This entire thick section right here was done all in one day. When I stopped limiting myself on how much I need to do quantity-wise, like, oh, do a spread each day or fill up a spread every other day, I removed that requirement and I made it as easy as possible to be in my sketchbook. And that way, I wasn't putting so much pressure on myself, and I was just trying to make it like a fun habit to incorporate into my life. I'm really happy that I did, because I'm learning to draw different things. I'm learning to play around with different colors. Sketchbooking has helped my line work, and I think one of my favorite things is just to study things. Like, you look at things that are in front of you and you draw it. You look at the photographs you've taken and you try to recreate it. You look at other people's art and you do studies on them. So I just really love how much knowledge and joy this sketchbook has brought into my life. For my next sketchbook, I have already started on it. They're the same sort of style of sketchbook, same size and whatnot, but I've already started like kind of what goals I wanted to do for the sketchbook. So something I want to do is start setting some loose goals in my sketchbooks. I don't want to set too many goals to the point where I kind of deter myself from using it, but I want to learn something from each sketchbook. So again, this goal of the sketchbook was to finish it by the end of the year. This one, I said, I want to experiment more with alcohol markers, and I want to draw less corgis as space fillers. Like, I've already drawn a couple of corgis in here, but I think it's okay to draw them as full spreads, but I wanted to avoid using them as like space fillers, because in my other sketchbook, I basically automate to drawing corgis as space fillers, which is nothing wrong with it, but I think I did it a little too much, and I want to learn how to draw other things. And I want to dedicate my corgi character as like more dedicated and intentional spreads. Also, my other goal is to experiment more with alcohol markers. I really enjoy the idea of painting, but I am intimidated by paint itself. So alcohol markers and a coded sketchbook is kind of like a good in-between. And I really love how alcohol markers behave in this coded sketchbook because of all like the little layering effects that you can do with it, but also it's kind of taught me to be a little bit more intentional with my strokes and what I put down onto the paper, because I feel like I'm so used to just chaotically drawing onto the page until something works out. But I feel like with alcohol markers, each stroke you can really see in the sketchbook. So for example, this is a spread that I actually did last night, and I'm really proud of it, but you can see that in like her hair strokes and whatnot, you can really see everything. But if you go back a couple pages, I did this really chaotic spread of Wiggler from Mario Sunshine, and you can really see each stroke. So I think alcohol markers have been really teaching me to be more intentional, but also working with colors and blending and so on and so forth. But I think that's a chat for another day, because that is all in the new sketchbook. Yes, I am very happy with the sketchbook. I am very, very proud of myself for finishing my first sketchbook ever, which is kind of a crazy thing to say, because I feel like the average person that doesn't do art would be like, you're an artist. Like, what do you mean you finished your first sketchbook? But if you're an artist, you know, you just keep buying books, you let them sit and you don't use them. So when I bought this book, I was like, I need to finish it. And I would like to give a huge thank you to all of my friends who have pushed me to Sketchbook, introduced me to different mediums, because I also find that when you find a medium that you like and you want to experiment with, all you want to do is draw. Because with fountain pens, oh girl, I can go all day drawing. It feels like makeup and nail polish, but in art form, because of all the colors and all the properties that inks have. Yes, huge thank you to my friends who introduced me to sketchbooking and all the different mediums, and all the friends that sketchbook with me. Sketchbooking with friends helps a lot. Yes, I know this video was quite of a lengthy one, and I'm talking a lot in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the sketchbook tour. I wonder how long this one's gonna take me. Considering that I started 2 days ago and it's already, you know, showing some love, I think I'm gonna finish this one pretty fast. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions about starting up sketchbooking. I still consider myself quite a bit of a beginner. There's a lot of people who've sketchbooked for many years. So this is kind of coming from like a digital artist that is getting into traditional perspective. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys again so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.